This God chose to reconcile with you and me. And there was only one way. There was only one way. He had to die, otherwise the covenant stops him. The covenant with Abraham stops him from reconciling with you and me. And can God can God die? God cannot die. So what he did, he took the extreme step. He came down in flesh. He came down in flesh, died on the cross. Third day he rose. Third day he rose. And I will show you the difference. Before he died, he was not for us again. He was not for us. In Romans 15:8, we see that he was, sorry, Romans 15:8. You see, he was servant. When he was in the flesh, Jesus was a servant to the people of the circumcision. Now I say that Jesus Christ has become a servant to the circumcision for the truth of God, to confirm the promises made to the fathers. So when he was in the flesh, he was under the law. He was under the Moses law. Under the Moses law, a Jewish person cannot intermingle with you and me. So he was a servant for the Jews alone. He was a Messiah for the Jews. And the Jews had to kill him. Then only he can become God for us. You know, such a wonderful step he has taken. Very careful step. Very careful step. I will also show you. Jesus in the flesh was not for us. He was a servant for the circumcision. We'll see in Galatians 4 and 5. Galatians 4 and 5. But when the fullness of the time had come, God sent forth his Son, born of a woman, born under the law, to redeem those who were under the law, that we might receive the adoption as sons. He was born under the law. And he sent his own Son. Who is the Son? I will tell you. What is the meaning of the term Son? Now, he came down as Son, and he was under the law. He was under the law. The law requires that he should not intermingle with Gentiles. Numbers 23:9, and I'll show a clear words. 10:28. Peter says, then he said to them, you know how unlawful it is for a Jewish man to keep company with or go to one of another nation. Other Gentiles, other people, other tribes are called other nations, other nation. But God has shown me that I should not call any man common or unclean. So it is illegal for a Jewish man to intermingle with others. That is the law. The law demands it. The law demands it, and a man should not. And he should marry within the tribe. A Judah man should marry within the tribe. These are the rules. They cannot violate. This is the law. I'll also show the commandment of the Lord. 9. For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I behold him. There, a people dwelling alone, not reckoning itself among the nations. They will live alone, separately. They will not mingle with other nations. So this is about the Jews, and this is a law that cannot be violated. This was a law that cannot be violated. Jesus was born under the law. He was born under the law, and he was meant only for the Israelites as Messiah. I'll show you the prophecy about Jesus. Deuteronomy 18 and 19. This prophecy was given 1450 years before Jesus was born. I will raise up for them a prophet like you, Moses, from among their brethren, and will put my words into his mouth, and he shall speak to them all that I command him. And it shall be that whoever will not hear my words, which he speaks in my name, I will require it of them. That means I will punish them. So the words you have to notice here. He says, I will raise up for them, for the Israelites, a prophet like you, Moses, from among their brethren. That means from the 12 tribes of Israel, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak to them, Jews, not for us, them, all that I command him. So this was a prophecy about Messiah Jesus. And Jesus was born under the law for them, to teach them, to redeem them, to redeem them. Now, he came there, and when he was walking on the earth, did he allow his disciples to preach us? No. No. We have to understand that also. Matthew 10. Matthew 10. I will take you to the New Testament now. Matthew 10, verse 5 and 6. 10, I will show 1 to 6. Here, he anoints his disciples. In Matthew 10, Jesus anoints his disciples. And when he had called his 12 disciples to him, he gave them power over unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal all kinds of sickness and all kinds of diseases. So, over all that. Now come to verse 5. These 12 Jesus sent out and commanded them, saying, do not go into the way of the Gentiles. We were the Gentiles. Do not go into the ways of the Gentiles. Do not go into the way of the, and do not enter the city of Samaritan. Samaritans are the remaining 10 tribes. Do not go there. But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He said, don't go. He has not permitted. He has not permitted. But after, I'll show you one more thing. A Gentile woman, a Canaanite woman came to Jesus. She said, Lord, my daughter is suffering from demonic possession. Will you please heal her? 22 to Matthew 15, 22 to 27. Okay, 28. Now, this Canaanite one, and behold, Matthew 15, 22 to 28. And behold, a woman of Canaan came from the region and cried out to him, saying, have mercy on me, O Lord, son of David. My daughter is severely demon-possessed. But he answered her not a word. He refused to answer. And his disciples came and urged him, saying, send her away, for she cries out after us. But he answered and said, I was not sent except to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Then she came and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, it is not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the little dogs. So, this was our situation. And this woman said, and she said, yes, Lord, yet even the little dogs eat the crumbs which fall from their master's table. Then Jesus answered and said to her, O woman, great is your faith. Let it be to you as you desire. And her daughter was healed from that very hour. He said, it is not good to give the bread to the little dogs. Jesus is the bread, living bread for them. For them. He said, I am the living bread that came from heaven. I am the living bread that came from heaven. John 6:51. So we should understand this. If we understand this, we will understand that whatever they are doing in the churches today are simply tamashas. John 38 and 51. He says, on the little bread, he says, for I have come down from heaven not to do my own will, but the will of him who sent me. This is 38. And in 51, I am the living bread which came down from heaven. So he is the living bread, and he was intended for the Israelites. Only after they reject, he could become a God for us. This was the whole design of the heaven. So he came down, he lived among the Israelites, he preached only to them. Gentiles listened from the periphery. They listened to him from the periphery. They were not allowed to get all these things, all these privileges, because he was not sent out to preach to them, nor he was sent out to heal them. No. The primary thing we should understand. He was a Jew. He was bound by the law, and the law required that he should not intermingle with the Gentiles. No way. And he was a promised Messiah for them only. I will raise up a prophet among you, Moses, from among their brethren, for them. So Jesus was the promised Messiah for whom, brother? For the Jews, not for us. Now, this was when he was alive and walking on the earth. Now he died and rose. What happened? Let's see. Matthew 28, 18, 19. His language changes. He died, he rose. Thereafter, look at his language. He says, And Jesus came and spoke to them, saying, all authority has been given to me in the heaven and on earth. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations. All nations. That means Jews and Gentiles. It's not simply America, India. Go and make disciples of all nations. That means from every tribe you make, from India, Pakistan, from anybody, you make disciples of all nations. Changed. So as long as he was in the flesh, Jesus was not for the Gentiles. But the moment he was killed, he was crucified by the very same people, and he rose after death, he was free from what? Abrahamic covenant. Now we understand? The Abrahamic covenant was gone. When he died and when he was buried with him was the entire Abrahamic covenant. It was gone. For that he came down in flesh. For that he came down in flesh. The very same God who entered into a covenant with Abraham in Genesis 17:1